Alright, good day everyone. So today we're gonna do another unboxing video, and this time it's gonna be about the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. But before we begin, I'd like to invite everyone to please subscribe to the channel and hit on the notification bell to get the latest updates from the hobbyist. So yeah, let's begin. So these are the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle figures. It's based off of the 1990 movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So if you're not familiar with these characters, they're actually released back in the 80s, back in the 90s. They are four mutated turtles. So they were exposed to radioactive material, and because of that exposure, they evolved to talk and walk like humans. And at the same time, they got some superhuman strength, and they learned ninjutsu from another mutated animal, which is a mutated rat they call Master Splinter. So yeah, so they fight crime, all sorts of bad guys, with all of their ninjutsu coolness, and they love pizza. So if you see on each figure, they have pizza slices. So yeah, so that's basically Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, or TMNT in short, in a nutshell. So yeah, so NECA being, you know, the brand that releases action figures based on pop culture, released, so it's kind of a no-brainer that at some point they will be releasing this line, so Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So yeah, so what we're gonna do, so actually my favorite is Michelangelo growing up, and if I remember correctly, my younger brother's favorite is Raphael. So we will be doing all of these, we'll be reviewing all of these figures one by one, so as not to make the video too long. So anyway, without further ado, what we're gonna do is we're gonna look at Michelangelo first, and we'll see what the box looks like. Okay, so this is what the box looks like. So it looks like the poster, basically, from the movie Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It also has a Nickelodeon logo on the front, and you might be wondering, especially for the collectors out there, so there are really different versions of this figure. So the first one was actually released in 2018, if I'm not correct, if I remember correctly, in the San Diego, as a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive. So that one, it's a four figure set, so it's four of them. So and it's released on a VHS style tape kind of box, and so the box is totally different from this one. This one is supposed to be the GameStop exclusive, but the GameStop exclusive has its logo here. So you might be wondering, why does it look like this? So I did some research, okay? I watched some other videos, I watched some of the material. I read some of the material online, and what I found out is that this figure is possibly a bootleg. So although I got it from a reputable supplier, right? So I got it from a reputable supplier, and from my understanding, they got this from NECA themselves. And the fact of the matter is, the box is different. So it's supposed to have a GameStop logo on the lower right, and the nunchucks of Michelangelo is supposed to be connected not by a single wire, but two pieces of like a string-like material. So that's what the GameStop exclusive figure looks like. This box and that style of nunchucks is actually based on the 16 or 12 inch figure, and this is supposed to be like a 7-inch. So there is some sort of discrepancy there. So there are two reasons that this might happen. One is that this is a bootleg, and and my reputable supplier must have been ripped off. So that is one possibility. The other possibility is that NECA actually released this type of figures for the export market, meaning outside of the US they released their figures, or the GameStop exclusive supposedly, this way. So I don't have enough information to prove that, but looking at some of the videos that I saw on YouTube that are not based on the US, they have this exact figure. It doesn't have the GameStop logo, and the nunchucks are one-piece wire, which in a way I like, although yeah, we'll go there when we get into the review. But yeah, so this is what the box looks like. So it has a simple box like this. It doesn't have the GameStop logo. It has a picture based on the poster, and then you can see a peephole on the front to show you what the figure looks like and some of the accessories that come with the figure. On the side of the box, you also have a picture of the figure with the text Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the NECA logo, and the Nickelodeon logo. On the other side, another pose of the figure, and at the back, we also see the text, the logo of Nickelodeon, Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and some details about Michelangelo. So, yeah. So without further ado, what we're gonna do is we're gonna open the box and show you what the figure looks like. Okay, so out of the box, this is what we have. So we have the Michelangelo figure, we have a pair of nunchucks, and then we have an extra bandana end, which I will explain later why they had to do that. And then we also have this pizza slice, and finally we have an extra pair of hands. So these are thumbs up hands. So the thing that I'd like to highlight on this one is, okay, in terms of the extra pair of hands, you don't really need to use them both on Michelangelo. So for each Ninja Turtle, they have a different pose on the hand, so you could actually interchange them. So they're sculpted the same way, and the color matches actually, so you could actually interchange them depending on what you want to use for each turtle. So in a way, if you want to get all of those hand poses, you have to buy all of the figures. It's a nice touch, and probably if you're gonna buy Ninja Turtles, what's the point of buying one, right? So you're probably gonna buy the whole set anyway. But yeah, just for you to know, yeah, there is a better hand that fits the pizza holding hand compared to these two. So these two are really just supposed to be used for thumbs up. So yeah, okay, so now let's look at the sculpt and the paint application. So in terms of sculpt, well, as you can see, Michelangelo was sculpted really well. So as you can see here, the face is really expressive. I like how they did the skin. So the skin has texture in it. It's not really on the paint, but it's really more on the sculpt of the figure. So it feels like this is like a movie prop shrunk into like 7 inches, 6.5 inches. So yeah, so the sculpt, even on the texture on the shell and the details on the back of the shell is really well made. The straps are really my favorite. So as you can see here, the straps are really leathery like looking. The bandana as well, so there's tons of details on the bandana. There's even some weathering involved, which we'll look at later on. So yeah, overall, even the connection, the membrane between the shell and the skin, it's there. So yeah, this is really a premium figure. That you know, I can go on and on saying a lot of positives about the figure sculpt. So even the cuts and the vein marks on the skin, on the arms and on the legs, they're really reminiscent of how it was in the movies. Now, moving on with the paint application, as you can see, the face, the paint application on the eyes, those are really well made. I mean, look at that. The eyes are really, wow, the expressions on the eyes is really good. I like how they colored the teeth, so there is kind of like a small tongue sticking out, which is really reminiscent of what Michelangelo looked like in the movie. I also like some of the blemishes that they've added on the skin. So as you can see here, there are some blemishes on the skin. The weathering on the bandana, really well made. And then as you can see, they really didn't skimp on painting the figure. They painted the shell really well, and the skin, there is some randomness on the colors of the different green colors that they use, similar to what it really looks like in the movie. So yeah, this figure really well made in terms of sculpt and paint application. So now let's move on to the accessories and what they look like. So first, the pizza slice. If I remember correctly, in the movie they love anchovy pizza, and this is not just consistent with what it looks like in the movie. It's actually the same as what it looks like when if you've watched the cartoons back in the 90s. This is what the pizza slice basically looks like. So yeah, so that's what the pizza slice is. It also comes with an extra pair of hands. So just like how it was sculpted, how the whole body was sculpted, there's a ton of detail on this one. So there's a lot of details on the skin, and a great detail on the nails as well. So great job, NECA. The bandana, same thing. So if you can see here, so the reason why they have an extra pair is because, I mean, they have an extra bandana end, is because this one, the detail falls on the bandana falls on the right side of the figure. So if you flip it on the other side, there's really no detail on the other side, as you can see here. So what NECA did to make the bandana look cooler on the other side, so they included an extra pair, an extra end, which you can connect here so that it falls off of the left, and there will be details on this left side. So yeah, and then it also comes with a pair of nunchucks. So here we have the nunchucks. So again, as I mentioned earlier, that's one of the reasons why this figure is a bit off for me, because the GameStop exclusive comes with two pieces of string that attaches the that attaches the nunchucks together instead of a bendy wire. So this design was actually used for the 12-inch figure, but not on the 6-inch. So yeah, and in terms of sculpt on the nunchucks, what I think my only gripe is that the texture, it feels kind of off, because it's very shiny, it's very toyish in a way. If you compare it to Michelangelo figure, this one is, they could have done a better job in terms of putting some texture on the nunchuck. But anyway, that's really just a small detail compared to what you're getting. So yeah, so that's it for our sculpt and paint application. Now we're gonna look at the articulation on this figure. So the head is connected by a ball joint, so it moves all the way around. There is no neck joint basically, so the neck will stay in place. And then there is a swivel and a hinge on the shoulders. There is also a swivel and a hinge on the bicep. And we have a ball joint and a hinge on the wrist. Now, there is a small ab crunch, which is nice because even if you lean Michelangelo forward, there is some detail on the back, the webbing on the shell, which covers up most of the gap, which is a nice touch if you ask me. Okay, moving on, there is no waist movement, so there's no waist joint. But in terms of the legs, so the legs are connected by a swivel and hinge combo. So there's a lot of swivel and hinges on this figure, and so is the knee. So the knee is also connected by a swivel and a hinge. Although since this is a NECA figure, so when the figures come out of the box, it's usually very tight. And finally, on the ankles, so this one we have a ball joint and a hinge, a ball joint and a hinge combo. Now, in terms of articulation, I like the combination. It gives you fluid motion, but I feel like they could have done better. I mean, it would have been better if it's ball joints. I think the only problem there is in terms of how it's flushed when you attach it to the figure. It's a safer design, so to speak, if you use a swivel and a hinge. Although for some poses it really limits the motion of this figure. Anyway, so that's it for the figure, and what we're gonna do is we are gonna compare this figure against the other figures that you might have in your collection. Okay, so this is how the NECA Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle Michelangelo stack up against the other figures that I have in my collection. So I have here the SH Monster Arts Godzilla, the SH Figure Arts Ultraman, and the NECA Godzilla. So as you can see, Michelangelo stands at around 6.5. I think it's 6.25 to be exact. But yeah, so it's a nice figure, and it doesn't really take much space from your shelf. So yeah. Okay, my final thoughts about this figure, as you can see, and it goes without saying, this figure is really good. It's really awesome. The sculpt, the paint application, it's there. It's perfect. If you look at the articulation, it's there. It's probably not gonna be ball joints like SH Monster Arts or SH Figure Arts, but who cares? They did an awesome job. They hid a lot of the lines, and for some poses you would probably see them, but it's really an awesome figure. If you're a fan of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, by all means you should get this figure. For $25 or even less for some sources, it's really a bang for the buck. One of the best figures that I've seen, that we've reviewed here in the channel, hands down. And as you can see, as we turn the figure around, a lot of the details you could already notice out of the figure. Now, as a collector, if you are really looking for the San Diego Comic-Con figure, the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive or the GameStop exclusive figures, it's the same. So the sculpt is still gonna be the same, the accessories are the same, the paint application, most of it, if not all of it, it's the same. There are some details that are missing. As you can see, as I mentioned, on the nunchucks, the wire is different. So my argument here is, it's a problem because of the brand. So the brand, they screwed up basically. So they allowed third-party sellers or knockoff sellers to get a hand on their sculpt and everything that they have. and it was able to get out of the market unlicensed. This figure in particular I got from a reputable seller, but yeah, doing my due diligence about the figure, I really couldn't find an original figure that was released in the US with the traits that my figure has. So the nunchucks are different and the box is different. But again, as a collector or as a fan of the series, it is worth getting. Yes. Is it worth getting? Yes. By all means, get it. If you have means to get one, even if they say it's a bootleg, dude, for a bootleg, look at the figure. I mean, it's a really nice figure to have. Everything about the figure is awesome. So if you're not getting the collector's item, then who cares? If it's still the NECA sculpt, it's still the NECA paint application, and it's still the NECA articulation. So by all means, Ninja Turtle fans, this figure is for you. Okay, so at this point you should be seeing the shoutouts on today's video. If you want to be included on the next roll call, all you need to do is drop us a comment down below, show us some love, subscribe to the channel. Oh, by the way, we are also available on Facebook, that's the Hobbyist, and our Instagram, _hobbyist. So we post a lot of cool content on those social media platforms, so do check those out and follow us on Instagram and on Facebook. So yeah, I guess that's it for me, folks. Thank you guys for watching, thank you guys for supporting the channel, and I will see you guys soon. Peace.